Gaming. Look, I've got to tell you about this brand new t-shirt that we got on sale. It's hashtag Shield Wall. The t-shirt, hashtag Shield Wall, in honour of Tank's win of the Las Vegas Open. He's the Las Vegas Open champion. We've got a cool t-shirt to represent it. Just want to tell you that it's only on sale during February. After that, it's not going to be on sale ever again. So go to hellstormwargaming.co.uk/shop right now to get it in the t-shirt option in multiple colours or in the vest top, because it's Tank, obviously. Otherwise, sorry for interrupting, and enjoy the video. Bye. Hey guys, and welcome back to Hellstorm Wargaming, and welcome to another preview video. We have the lovely Warhammer Age of Sigmar Daughters of Khaine Battletome, which is brand new on pre-order today. And I'm joined by the lovely Dan. Hi Dan.
Hi, how's it going?
Are you okay? Having a great time?
I'm having a lovely time.
Yeah.
I was, and then I've read this, and I'm like feeling a bit ill.
So this is on pre-order today, along with the other side of the Shield Wall, the 300, the Hedonites of Slaanesh book. Where you get Xerxes and all that lot, you know.
Xerxes and the versions, yeah.
So that's on pre-order today. I'm hoping to film a review, but no promises. But we're doing this one today. We're doing a Daughters of Khaine, and hopefully we'll get the Slaanesh review out in a few days.
Yeah.
So we're going to check about all the new stuff, what we think about it, what's good, what's bad, mostly what's good by the sounds of it. And this is just kind of like a slow build up to our Age of Sigmar content, because it's tough right now, obviously, because there's the Rona. Just content in general is hard, but here we are. We're going to do a review of the Daughters of Khaine. So we're going to basically just run through the Battletome. We're not just going to read it to you. We're not doing. If you want to watch Man Reed's book, you can go find him.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about like each section and what we think's cool about it.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, to be honest. All of it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. But Dan's going to be doing a lot of the comparison, because my knowledge of the Daughters of Khaine is this book and the Marathi books that came out like 2 weeks ago, because I've never played against them or with them.
A slight caveat to that: I'm no expert. But I have played against them before, and I have had conversations, obviously, with Toby, who used to play Daughters of Khaine. And obviously, before lockdown and stuff, I was playing with a couple of non-Hellstorm members, and one of those actually had Toby's army. So I have had some dealings with the little buggers.
Yeah, but they're well known for being quite nasty, like one unit being able to kill anything in the game.
Yeah, pretty much. They have a lot of attacks and not much close, so yeah, I can see why they're appeal to some people. But yeah, they're an interesting army.
Yeah, and
they're elves, so I've obviously got some kind of affiliation to them. But
well, yeah, you are that type of guy.
But elves in bikinis, you know, why not?
Well, yeah. To me, because obviously I'm a 40k player, they give me big Dark Eldar vibes. Just without,
very much so, yeah. There's a lot of
basically what I feel with them.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of comparisons to this book as well, and the old one. They've got their own table. It's called Bloodwrack, which again we'll go into in a bit.
Let's go into the battle traits.
Yes.
So Bloodwrack.
Yep. The Apostles of the Murder God. So this has not actually changed from the old Battletome.
Okay, so exactly the same.
So it's run rolls, charge rolls, rerolls of ones to hit in combat, and a slight difference is that the Avatar of Khaine, because it's a statue in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, so basically you have to use a priest to enchant it.
Yeah. So on turn 3, it automatically animates on its own.
Yeah,
which
so
is quite cool.
Just act as normal, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Really cool, pretty much. So 4, it's reroll wound rolls of 1, and then 5, you reroll in saves of 1. So and you don't have to take battle shock tests either, which is quite nasty. Fanatical Face.
Quite nice.
It is, yeah. It is nice because
good abilities for free, essentially.
The problem is usually by turn 5, the game's either over or you've got nothing left. So it's kind of one of those.
Well, no. If you just so happen to have one big block, at least it isn't running away now.
Yeah, well, I guess like maybe turn 5, you probably either your opponents run away at the points or you've already run away at the point. So usually the game's kind of lost, but in the high kind of high tier games, let's say the mega competitive games, that they'd probably see the most use out of that. But from my experience, you rarely get to turn 5 with much left. So they've still got the Fanatical Faith, which is the ignore wounds on a 6+, or on a 6 now, sorry, not a 6+.
Just a straight 6.
Yeah, so that's a wound or a mortal wound that ignores, so that's still the same. And then we've got some temples. We've got some new ones as well.
Yeah. So there's 6 temples in total, right?
Where I believe there was only 4.
Yeah, there was 2 in the Broken Realms book.
Yeah.
Which were new, I believe. And if there was 4 in the old one, I think this is like an amalgamation of them all in one book now.
I believe so, although I'm not too sure about the 5th one, which is Keltner. I don't know if that... I think that could be the one that took over Anvilgard, but I'm pretty sure that's like Karhurin or something like that. Maybe it's changed its name. But the Zanifakai one is the Zanith... Zane there, yeah, that one.
Zainthar-kai.
Zainthar-kai is definitely one out of the book.
Yeah,
the Marathi
the newer book.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I should say is like everything that was in the Marathi book is actually in this book as well.
Yeah.
So if you bought it just for rules, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. If you bought the Marathi
bought it
book,
just for those,
unlucky.
If you bought Marathi books for Marathi, I'm really sorry, but you got mugged off.
Yeah. So we're basically saving you money. Sorry, GW, but we are. If people were going to buy this book, start a Daughters of Khaine army, and buy the Marathi book, unless you really like the fluff, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, the fluff is quite cool, don't get me wrong. But it also goes over it in this as well, just like not as in depth. So if you want like a really quick run through, you don't need the Marathi book whatsoever. So I'm sorry.
I mean, there's obviously other stuff in the Marathi book, but the Marathi book is about Marathi being an horrible evil woman, which will
as a Daughters of Khaine army. Sorry, as a Daughters of Khaine player.
It's a shame really, because it's kind of made that book redundant for the Daughters of Khaine players. Because it's all in this battle tome, which, I mean, it's a shame.
GW don't know how to market these days. They do because everyone's buying all the books.
Well,
you have to.
It's obviously a cycle that they seem to be doing now. They seem to finish a cycle of editions with campaign books, and then it's a new edition.
Yeah, it's true.
Sad face.
Very true. Yeah. Which could lead on to a whole other question about whether AOS 3 is coming this year. However,
who knows?
Temples of Khaine. These work basically the same way as every other. What do you call it in Age of Sigmar? Because in 40k you call it chapter tactics. What do you call it in Age of Sigmar?
Well, it varies. Like they haven't got a specific one.
They haven't got a known one.
So these are just called the Temple of Khaine.
Yeah, because in 40k, that's everyone calls them chapter tactics.
Yeah, regardless of what army
that's the Space Marine version. But yeah, so these basically work the same as other armies. Basically, you give everyone the same keyword, and then they can get certain abilities. If they have another keyword already, they don't get those abilities, but they don't stop everyone else getting it. From what I understand. So
correct. Yeah.
And there's 6 to choose from. So
there is. Yeah, there's the new ones are quite interesting. Actually, I mean, I like the Cobra Kai one. From the Marathi book, but
shall we jump ahead and talk about those first, and then we'll go back
and then we'll go back through all the command and stuff.
I feel like that makes more sense. It's not that odd in the book though.
Yeah.
But
so
in the temples we have Hagnardan.
Yeah, that is, I think, the pretty much mainly the one a lot of people used to go to. It is really good. It was really good. It's got even better, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. In my opinion, it's got better. I've been played against it. Yeah,
the main rule from that is basically they count the battle trait as being 1 higher for their blood rights abilities.
Yeah, so that's Daughters of the First Temple. So that's changed from the old one you see now. So it's basically while you're benefiting from it, the blood rights battle trait, you re-roll all hits instead of 1s from the old one.
Okay.
So now it's changed to add the number of the current battle round when determining the abilities gained by the Hagnar units, which is the blood rights. So it's basically, again, to go back to 40k, it's basically Blackheart. What they get on their power from the table.
Count the table as 1 higher. What you should say as well is it also says this ability and other similar abilities are cumulative. So that implies there are other ways in the book to increase that. I'm not sure where, because I haven't managed to read every data sheet ever. Every war scroll ever. But it is cumulative, which is quite cool.
So they basically got the +1 to the table, which again is really good.
Really strong.
Just means you get that magical 5th round on the 4th turn, which
rerolling saves, which is obviously strong.
You might actually get some kind of use out of that. So what they have added into the new one. Moving on, so in the old book you actually only got a command trait and what they could basically go into one of the battalions, which we'll again go into in a bit. So they've actually added now. They've got a commandability as well as the command trait. They've also got a
artifact.
Artifact, yeah. So the commandability, I think, is really good. So use this commandability in the movement phase. Pick one friendly Hagnar Cauldron of Blood within 3 of any Hagnar units that have 3 or more models that are wholly within 12 of a hero.
That is a sentence and a half.
Okay.
So basically, Cauldron of Blood has units near it with hero lol.
It's kind of like how the Skaven push along their Cauldron thing, because I think it only moves like 4 inches or something, maybe, the Cauldron of Blood.
And this adds 3 to the move.
3 to the move, yeah, exactly, till the next hero page, which is, I think, is really good, because I think the one thing they used to struggle with is obviously keeping up with the rest of the army.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk to witch elves and stuff like that. So that I really like that for a commandability, because you probably spend that turn 1, get yourself into position, then you'll
just
probably never
have
a
little bit.
Yeah, you'll never have to spend it again. So it's pretty good. Moving on to the command traits. So this is the same name, and it's the same. It is the same rule, apart from. So we'll see this with all the new books coming in now. Rather than just being within 7 inches like it used to be, it's now within 12. So on a 5+, you get you basically get your fanatical faith.
They ignore damage roll.
Yeah, DPR,
which goes from a 6. Yeah, goes from a 6 to a 5.
Exactly.
Whilst you're wholly within 12.
But it's wholly within 12 now of the general. So in theory, you get an extra 5 inches, but you have to be wholly within. Whereas before,
yeah, so no conga lining from it.
You can't conga line now, which is it's okay, I guess. I mean, it's
not too bad.
It is good. It's what people used to take Hagnar for, but.
Yeah,
I think it's condensed.
It's a little bit more limited now.
Yeah, exactly. Which is still good. To be honest, it's a 5+ rather than a 6+. Ignore damage.
Yeah, exactly.
So
when you don't have, you're very lightly armored, aren't you? So obviously anything like that's going to be really good.
You're literally wearing a bikini, so yeah, you are quite lightly.
And from turn 4, you're going to be re-rolling saves minimum. So re-rolling saves with a 5+ feel no pain, or ignore damage roll, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Or we could just call it a fanatical faith roll.
We could call it that, yeah.
So the artifact's not too bad either. Pick a weapon of the bearer, and add one to the damage characteristic if they made a charge in the same turn. So there's a few things. I think the Medusa hits quite hard. You know, the Snake Lady, and obviously the sisters themselves. Unfortunately, you can't give this Marathi because she's a named character, because that'd be nasty.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be really good. Put it on the Shadow Queen.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Stab. Hagnar. It's one most people use.
That's the go-to one.
I think it's better, personally. A lot better.
It still seems like the go-to one for me.
Yeah, Dean. It's the adding the extra one to the table. Yeah. I mean, you are trading off the reroll hits instead of ones, but you don't get that till turn 3, I believe.
Yeah, it's turn 3. You'd get the hits.
So you get there actually on turn 2 now, which is probably better. But you're obviously just re-rolling ones instead.
Yeah, so you're re-rolling charges from turn 1, or re-rolling ones to charge.
Yeah, exactly. Re-rolling runs and ones. Yeah. So,
that's cool.
Re-rolling runs and charges, should I say? Sorry.
Yeah. So then we got Dry Chickeneth.
Dry Chicken.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So basically, you improve the Ren characteristic of Witch Elves and Sisters of Slaughter by 1 if they made a charge move that turn from this temple.
Yeah, that's
which is pretty
really, really good. So the old one used to be add 1 to hit rolls if they made a charge, which we'll go on to in a second. There is you don't lose that, let's say, but that is really good. The amount of attacks they put out at a -1 rend, that could be horrific. It really could be.
Again, it's just buckets of dice, and every AP you get just makes so much big difference.
I think this one is the big winner. I know I said to you yesterday, like there's been some big changes. I think this one is probably the big winner. I really like this now, and you're always going to run Witch Elves regardless, because they're your battle line. I mean, the Snakes are battle line as well, but yeah, the amount of attacks they can kick out with the again, we'll go on to it in a bit. The prayers and stuff is insane, and now getting that -1 rend is a big change.
Yeah, this is really good.
Should we go into the commandability? So
so as you just mentioned,
from the old one, Yeah, we've now got a Commandability, which basically gives you the old
gives
rule.
one of the units the +1 to hit.
+1 to hit, yeah. Which, again, is really good.
Yeah.
Really,
so
really
hold
good.
it within 12.
Yep. Which you're going to be.
do it.
I think, looking at... I'll just go on a quick tangent here. Looking at all these battle traits and stuff like that, they all seem to be geared towards having the Cauldron as the general.
The pinnacle, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the central army.
Because, it's the same as a Sigmar. You always have, like, the one guy on the Hurricane giving everything out because he's got a bigger base.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same for this, I think.
Yeah, just because you've got a humongous spread then, haven't you? So you think from a 32mm base compared to, what is it, an oval base the Cauldron's on?
Yeah, it's a flying base.
Yeah, so you think like how big that spread is comparative.
Yeah.
You're probably getting in like 4 inches either way or something now.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really good.
And like the +1 to hit, I know it's on one unit of Witch Elves or sits to slaughter, but you could probably send them in waves and be like, well, okay, there's 40, that's -1 rend and +1 to hit. Yikes.
Exactly, yeah. So +1 to hit, -1 rend, and then the rest are just -1 rend. It's still good. It's still really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a challenge here now on this command trait. Can you pronounce what that says?
No, Victor of Yathril.
Yeah,
Yathril.
It's Yathril.
Yathril.
Yeah.
Yathril. Yathril. Anyway, what this does, it gives you +1 bravery while you're holding within 12 of the general.
Again. On the Cauldron.
Just in the middle, yeah.
Mint, yeah.
12 inch.
That's really good for a command trait. Again, going through these, obviously with the new books now, you have to take these if you're going with that temple. So they're not bad.
Yeah.
There's some that are absolutely useless in other books, but I think from looking at them all, these have all got some value to them, which is really good.
Yeah, because that's what I noticed. Like in Age of Sigmar, if you're taking a, let's call it chapter tactic or a temple, you have to take the command trait, the artifact power, and artifact of power there. You can buy an extra artifact, but
you need a battalion.
You're limited by the command trait, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which again, it's what it is. They're free, so you might as well take them.
Yeah, it's true. It just means all the other ones that they like entice you with, they're like annoying because you can't touch them.
Yeah, they have kind of cut them down though. Now they're usually like a D3 table now in the newer books. I know the Lumineth one is. Yeah. But theirs are just, I think the Lumineth one, as a comparison, they've got less characters and stuff you can give them to, whereas these girls have got,
one for each type, haven't they?
Pretty much, yeah. And they've got a lot of variant in their characters, so depending on who you give your general, they can work with other stuff on it. And then again,
true.
So the artifact on this, so Death's Kiss, which is I think again is really quite good. So pick one of the bearers, melee weapons, add 2 to the attack's characteristic if they made a charge in that turn.
Yeah.
So
these kind of play like glass cannons, don't they? Like they charge and then they hope to kill whatever they're in combat with before they have to fight again. So they get the charge and get all the buffs off.
Everything on the charge, getting all your buffs on the charge.
All the buffs on the charge. Don't stay in combat more than one turn.
Yeah, make sure you kill what you hit and then run away. So I think that one's really, really good because you're going to be wanting to be charging all the time. To be fair, I really like that one. It's so much better than the last one.
Yeah, I think that's what they've done, haven't they? They've made Hagnar even better, by the sounds of it. And then the other ones, which are all right, they've made him a little bit better as well. So it's like, ooh, actually, maybe I won't play as Hagnar this time.
Yeah, I mean,
which is nice.
The only thing that's probably from the old book, the old relic they had, it added 4 to their characteristic, but you could only give it a Slaughter Queen. Whereas this one, you add 2 to anyone's characteristic. So I'd probably get like the Medusa or something like that because she's got a pretty nasty fork for a dinner.
Nice.
Next then,
the Kraith.
The Kraith. I like these as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Disciples of Slaughter is their ability. So this has changed. This has changed slightly. And it's a bit of word jangling. So I'll try and read it as best as I can to make it sound as good as it is. So at the end of the combat phase, you roll a dice for each friendly Kraith Sisters of Slaughter unit that's fought. Yeah. That's fought once in that phase. On a 5+, that unit can fight for a second time. That's really good, but I don't think it's as good as the old one. So the old one is after the unit is fought. It's any unit. This one though,
Okay.
With an enemy within 3 inches of it, on a 6+, they can pile in an attack again. Whereas this one, I'm not 100% sure whether you can pile in an attack. It just says fight again.
Interesting. Yeah, so it depends what the syntax is for what fight means.
Exactly, yeah. And it's only to Sisters of Slaughter as well, whereas the old one was
one type of unit.
everything.
It was everybody.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Mm.
But I still think it's really powerful.
Which is nice, but...
Yeah. I think it's interesting because if you can pile in, the Sisters of Slaughter actually pile in 6 inches.
Yeah, so it depends what fight means, because if it's fight means you can pile in and fight as normal, as if you would have charged, or whether fight means you can just attack again.
Yeah, I mean, by reading it, I'd say they can't pile in, but they can just fight again, so you're locked in combat. And you just, because it's at the end of the combat phase as well. Whereas the old one was after you fought, so you could immediately fight again, whereas obviously this one's just at the end of the combat phase. So it's an interesting one because, again, you might lose models before you decide. Well, it's free, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's free on it.
But it's after everybody fights, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you could get
you could
wiped
lose
out.
half the squad.
Correct.
Or there'd be like one dude left and you're like, cool, I get to fight again with him.
Yeah. Woo! I've got my banner that's letting me reroll my morale, even though I've lost 30 dudes. 30 ladies were mint.
Yeah, what might help them is the Commandability, which is basically a unit wholly within 12 gains +1 to wound in the combat phase, not from missile weapons or anything like that.
Yeah, I think there's only...
So +1 to wound's always going to be really good.
Yeah.
It's just such a strong ability.
And they have a lot of attacks as well, the Sisters of Slaughter.
Yeah, it should say it's any Sisters of Slaughter unit.
Yeah, I think this is a main, like, kind of Sisters of Slaughter temple, which is quite good. The commander trait. The command trait. I quite like this one. This is quite a good one. So at the end of the combat phase, if the generate enemies on the battlefield, if any units were destroyed, you get a command point.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. So if your army kills your opponent's models, you will get a command point at the end of that phase. At the end of that turn, sorry.
Yeah, that's free real estate. That.
Yep. Well, at the end of the combat phase,
that stonks.
That stonks. Yeah. It's good, but unfortunately, you don't get a command point for every unit that's been destroyed. It's just
it's just one.
It's just the one command point.
So you're likely going to get 2 command points a turn, though, which is nice.
Yeah.
One at the start.
Yeah, you get one at the start, one at the end. Ideally, if you're not killing anything with Daughters of Khaine, I wouldn't bother playing Warhammer ever again. Basically. Basically. Yeah. And then the Artifact of Power is quite cool. It's very situational. It could be quite good for breaking lines. For morale and stuff like that. If you're out of coherency, you're out.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is unit, so you probably could get around that by picking. Obviously, your opponent picks the thing up, but it's good for characters as well. So you get 1 attack with it once per battle. You pick one of the weapons, and basically, your opponent suffers D6 mortal wounds.
Yeah, you basically jab them with it.
Yeah, you just stab them with the venom of the Narandra, which I think is one of the serpents into. Yeah.
So you have like a secondary weapon that's pretty rubbish. You can be like, right, you'll get your venom now.
Yeah, because it says one of the bearer's weapons, where I think like the death hags and stuff like that have 2 weapons. One of them has a sword, and then one of them has a dagger and stuff like that. So you could pick the crappy dagger that does D6 mortal wounds. Yeah, exactly.
If you only got 1 weapon, because you can't fight with it if you do that with that weapon in particular.
I mean, the issue here, obviously, it's D6, but if you spike and roll that 6 on a character, usually they've only got 5 and 6 wounds.
Oh yeah,
it's doing a lot of damage. So
it'd say be 3 or 4 mortal wounds through before you fight, or before anyone fights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it could bring someone down a bracket if it's a big monster or something, or it could outright kill someone. And
it plays a big part in the activation walls as well. Because if you stab someone that, they might go with another unit over at the other side. But oh no, I've got my character who now has only got 1 wound that does mega damage. I'm going to go here and they're fighting into your stuff that's got a stupid save or something like that.
Which gives you the
advantage. Yeah, exactly. So there's little things like that, which obviously more experienced players who play with Daughters of Khaine a lot more often, will pick that up and use it to their advantage. But yeah, it's really good.
Decent.
Yeah,
it's decent. Yeah.
So that's Kraith.
That's
Kraith. Next one we've got Kelborn, which is again
it's Kelborn. I thought it was Kelborn, but then I thought there was a typo. Yeah. And then I realised it was Kelborn. Yeah. So it's not Kelborn.
I don't really think these have changed that much. There's been a couple of name changes. They've just swapped them around basically.
Right.
So their their abilities is you subtract 1 from hits with missile weapons, which is really good against your Lumineth, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's just
it's not bad.
We'll talk about Lumineth another day. So it's all right.
Yeah.
It does what it does. It does mean it makes your characters -2 to hit from missile weapons, which is nice. Obviously, we look out, sir. So we've got then the Commandability, which is okay. In fact, to be honest with you, it's better than okay. It's really good. So at the end of the
redeploy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And redeploying AOS is massive because of the way the missions work.
Yeah.
So you pick a friendly unit, wholly within 12 of the general, put them anywhere on the board, more than 9 inches away.
Yeah, really good. Really good.
They can't move though in the next movement phase. That's the issue. So you've got to kind of get them onto an objective and make sure they stay there. Otherwise, they're just going to be sat doing nothing. Or you missile troops, something like that. Yeah.
Or junk a 9-inch charge roll or something.
Yeah. So you've basically got to make that 9-inch charge straight away because you're not going to be able to move.
If you do it turn 2, you're re-rolling ones.
Exactly.
So,
which is all right. It's just all right.
I think that's pretty cool. That one. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Again,
any kind of redeploy.
It's any Kelborn unit as well. So it's any unit in the army really.
Yeah.
So
could be absolutely anything, which is
pretty
nice.
Spicy.
It could be that big 40 blocker sisters that have just suddenly appeared on the other side of the board. Like, oh no, what do I do now?
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. So that's called Master of the Shadow Paths. With then, do you want to do the command trait? Because it's pretty simple.
So the command trait is -1 to hit in melee against the general.
Yeah.
So then is -1 to hit in shooting and melee with that command trait. Fairly bog standard, which is pretty decent.
That has changed. So the Master of the Shadow Paths is what the Mistress of Illusions used to be in the old book.
Okay.
So that they've had a name switch.
So you've gained, you've got gained the command trait out.
You get the command trait,
essentially.
Go on, carry on.
Yeah. And then I was going to say the artifact is essentially Whisper Death. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. 6 is to wound doing the Mortal Wounded edition.
Cool. It's okay. It's free. It's free. It's okay. Yeah, if you've got a ton of attacks, why not?
For sure.
Right then, so what we got next? Keltner, this is one of the new ones, isn't it? I mean, I think this was in the... so just a quick one, that's end of what was in the old book. So these are your new two new ones. So Keltner, again, this is quite good in competitive play, or just in play in general, to be fair. Units can retreat and still charge later in that same turn.
Nice.
Which is really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
IDNF players use that quite well, obviously, because they can do that turn 4, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
Yeah, it just gives you lots of flexibility, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. This one, it took me a while to read. I didn't quite get what it was supposed to be doing, but it's basically something that used to happen on one of the battalions, which I'll not spoil.
All right.
It's all right. So you pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 of the hero. If a unmodified hit roll against that unit is a 1, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound after all of the attacks have been resolved. So it's great. Right. You rolled a 1 and you got 1 more. You've rolled 18 1s and you did 1 mortal wound.
Yeah, that seems pretty bad. So it says, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a melee weapon that targets the Keltner unit is a 1, the attacking unit suffers 1 more wound. So if it So I don't know if that stacks or not. Is it if you roll 10 ones, do you take 10 mortal wounds or 1 mortal wound?
Exactly.
I think that reads as 1 mortal wound.
Yeah, the way I read it is you suffer 1 mortal wound because it does say after all of its attacks have been resolved. Again, that.
So it's like a defensive ability. So every time you hit me, as the Keltner, I'm Keltner. You've hit me and rolled a 1.
Yep.
You take a mortal wound.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really imply that if you roll 2 ones, you take 2 mortal wounds. It just says you take 1 mortal wound. Which, if it's the latter, then that's really rubbish. But if it's like for every one you roll, it's not too bad, but still not great.
It's worded weirdly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like over complex.
If it's put it this way, some people are going to cry about what we're going to tell them in a bit, so we'll just leave it there for now before we carry on. So I don't know. To me, it could work either way, but that's the problem. It shouldn't work either way.
Yeah.
So
you either take 1 or you take all of them.
All
we don't
of them.
know.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's all of them.
Yeah. Everyone hopes it's all of them. Yeah.
So the command trait is Circling Flock. Hell yeah. Once per battle at the end of your movement phase, you can say its general summon some birdies, and if you do, you can summon 5 harpies.
Yeah.
To the battlefield, anywhere on the board, more than 9 away.
Yep.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can only do it once per battle.
It is only once per battle. Can you imagine if you did it every turn? That'd be ridiculous.
Look, everyone's got Canary Harpies because everyone bought the thingy. Is it what Pain and Rapture or something like that?
The starter box thing.
Yeah, the starter one. So everyone's got Harpies, so it just gives you a free unit.
You finally use them.
Yep, gives you a reason to use them. So
I mean, it's free. It's free.
Yeah, that's obviously if you don't pick Hagnar or the Drive one.
Oh, really? They're the good ones.
Yeah, so you're probably not going to see them. So yeah, the artifact. So I think this Geyser's Falx. Who knows? Yeah. Pick one of the bearer's weapons as always. Basically, if you roll a 6, or modify roll a 6, it counts as 2 hits. So it's just Tesla.
Not bad.
Yep.
Steady.
That's all right. Again, the artifacts are decent just because they just do damage, which is what you want. They're not overly complicated. It's like
they're pretty straight up, aren't they?
Yeah, they like pick that because it's not
that weapon is good.
Yeah, because it's not tied to a specific weapon. It's just pick one of the weapons. So you give it the crappy sacrificial dagger, which I think hits on 4s, wounds on 4s. All right, now it doesn't. It does mortal wounds when I hit you.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that. So they've got the uses, and because the Daughters of Khaine have a lot of dual wielding characters, you can pick either. So it's decent. But I mean, for that one, you'd probably want to put it on the main weapon because you're scoring 2 hits rather than the 1 if you roll a 6.
Yeah, whereas the other ones you kind of just buff a little bit.
I think anything that does mortal wounds maybe is probably better with the one little stabby dagger. But who knows? Then Cobra Kai is the next one.
Yeah, Zainthar
Kai.
Cobra, pronounced properly.
So this is exactly the same as the one out of Marathi.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen our last video on the Broken Realms, you can go watch that. But it's exactly the same. So people probably already know it by now.
It's for snakes. It's cool, but you can go and watch that.
Yeah. So that's all the temple command traits artifacts. There are some more generic ones if you don't want to go with a particular temple. Obviously, you probably are going to go with them, so command traits are probably not going to make a difference, but there are some unique command traits and artifacts of power. So there's 3 tables for each. There's 1 table for the Daughters of Khaine Elf, a Bloodwrack Medusa or Melusite Iron Scale, and then there's artifacts for Daughters of Khaine Hero, a Bloodwrack Medusa Hero, or a Daughters of Khaine Priest. And then there's the prayers and spells as well. So we'll quickly go through the command traits, some that jump out. Any that are really good, Dan? Any major changes?
I think the Master of Poisons is decent. So that's add 1 to the damage inflicted by each successful attack, which is all right. The True Believer, so that's quite a good one, but it only affects the general. So basically, it's add another 1 to the Blood Rights table. Yeah. So again, you're probably going to need a beat stick for that.
Yeah. Is there any way you could be Hagnar and take this command trait?
No.
Because I didn't think there was. So because I read, that's what I was kind of mentioning earlier. Is like all these abilities are cumulative, but I don't see any way of getting both at the same time.
So any of the so like you say, you're probably never going to use these because you're going to probably take a temple. And again, I think the temples are actually really good. That it's why wouldn't you take a temple? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So
these are all right, but you can never use them really.
Yeah, not really. I mean, you can use them, but I think you'd lose. You lose pretty much quite a lot of stuff if you don't take a temple. That's for all of them as well, because they've all got the place in the book. There's probably the second to last one, which is meh, but the others, exactly. They're all viable. But yeah, I think those are the two that stand out: the damage and the add one to the table. The rest are just add brave, add one to wound.
Yeah, reroll cast and stuff like that. But it's like, again, you're just sacrificing so much for not taking that.
For not doing it, exactly.
Yeah.
There is one I'd probably take, and that's the you get a command point and a 4+. But I think pretty much every book's got that. Every new book's kind of got something where you gain command points.
And that's for Malus Iron
Scale, yeah. So she's the new character in the box.
But what you might see a bit more of is the artifacts, because you can get these if you get battalions and stuff like that. You might be able to get an extra one. So there's 3 tables. So in the Gifts of Morathi, which is for Daughters of Khaine Hero.
I think these are all the same.
Yeah.
All right. So the only one that's changed actually is the Curse Blade, which is the second one. Just called now called Shadrach's Fang.
Sounds like Casey Frey. Shadrach.
Don't it? Sounds like Shadrach Emmerdale. It's just one of his fangs. It's just one of his fangs just on it, putting a sword. Because apparently Shadrach from Emmerdale is a legendary Umbral dragon.
He is. I remember. Yeah, I remember him. But what that does basically, you add one. You choose a weapon, and you add one to hit, and 6 do mortal wounds in addition to any other damage.
Yep. Again, I think there's a temple
so that's
that has
like
one like that.
Yeah, there's 2 artifacts mixed in one there, because there's one that gives you +1 to hit, and there's one that gives you 6 mortal wounds. So that's really good, that one.
I quite like that one. The Bravery one's quite good as well. So the Crown of Woe, which again is the old one, that's still the same. That's quite good. Basically, all the others, they are exactly the same. Yeah. So, but that's the Shadrach's Fang.
Shadrach's Fang. Yeah. Fuck yeah, let's get Shadrach.
I'm literally just
Shadrach
like
Shank.
I am going to start a Daughters of Khaine army just for that.
I think all artifacts should be named after Emmerdale characters. I think that's the only way that
Could imagine.
Games Workshop are going to be losing money unless they do this.
True. Like what? Like 1001 Dark Blessings of Zack.
Yeah. Of Zack,
Dark Blessings of Dingles.
I don't even remember. Yeah, that's all I remember, the Dingles. I don't remember anything else from Emmerdale.
The Blood Dingle Venom. That's what you want.
Blood Dingle for only Dingles.
Wow, you can only win Dingles on a 6+.
Terrible. So the other 2 sets of artifacts, there are 6 artifacts of shadows for Bloodwrack Medusa, and there are 6 for Relics of Khaine. If you already play Daughters of Khaine, then you already know what all of these do, because they're all exactly the same, no other changes. So it's just Shadrach's Fang, and that's it. That's the only new artifact we've got.
Which is a great.
It's the best one.
It is the best one.
You should only take Shadrach's Fang.
Yeah, do you know what? I might actually just buy like a witch elf or a queen just to put Shadrach's Fang on.
So there we have spells and prayers, and to answer your prayers of what you want to know what's changed, it's only prayers that have changed, and there's only a couple that have changed in there anyway.
In fact, there's only one that's changed.
There's only one, yeah.
There's literally one.
So was it Crimson Rejuvenation you said, Dan?
Yeah, so before it was you could pick a unit and then heal them D3, but you couldn't choose Morathi. Whereas now it says pick one friendly Daughters of Khaine unit wholly within 14 of this model and heal D3 wounds allocated to that unit. So you know that all that fire your opponents put into trying to take those 3 wounds off Morathi, and then you just heal them back.
On the Shadow Queen.
On the Shadow Queen. You can now do that.
Yeah, just stick them back on. Unlucky.
So the average turn of a dying, was she can probably make it to turn 3 on a double turn. Yeah. Now she could probably make it quite far if you
make it to turn 4, yeah, at least.
I mean, to be fair, average. I think that's probably even worth taking one of the Khainite priest just to follow her around, just to keep giving it.
And he can activate the avatars as well. The
exactly. Yeah. So.
And the avatar of King gives you +1 to pray as well, so it goes over to 2+. Mm-hmm. So
it's really good that actually. Now I think that you might see that one, and you'll still see the Catechism of Murder because that's just really good anyway. That's the exploding senses. And the one.
So they seem pretty cool. Again, you got like the Sacrament of Blood Prayer, which is adding 1 to the Blood Rights table. So again, Hagnar can get +2 for 1 unit within 14. Again, the spells are all the same, but some of them seem pretty good. Like the Steed of Shadows, which makes you fly and move really fast, which is quite nice. But again, if you already play this army, you've played against this army, you kind of already know what these do.
Yes, so I think everyone used to use Catechism of Murder and the Blessing of Khaine. So the Blessing of Khaine is the one that re-rolls your Fanatical Faith save. So obviously with Hagnar, it's 5 up, so you get to re-roll that.
Yeah, that's really 5 up re-rolling is really good.
But they've just thrown another one in there now. So the Crimson Rejuvenation could be one you could have on a separate priest to heal Marathi up if you've got the points. It's probably a side one more than anything. That side chick.
Yeah, exactly.
She's literally she's that side chick. Right, now are we going to make people cry?
Are we going to make people cry now, Dan?
I think so.
We're going to talk about battalions.
I am going to talk
battalions.
Although...
2 HQs, 3 troops, let's go.
Yeah. Temple Nest is gone.
Oh, no.
Which is the war
bugger. The auto
everybody used. Which is basically one of the traits of the temples. So it's the one where whenever you roll a 1... to hit them, they suffer mortal wound back.
So the really bad temple where we don't understand. Is now that.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. I mean, at least it's free. You don't have to pay points for that ability now, but it's also only 1 unit.
Yeah. So Temple Guard's gone.
It might be shit.
It might be shit. Yeah. So Temple Nest, has gone, which is the one a lot of people used to run. So we have got 3 new ones in here. In fact, I think. All of the ones? Oh no, Cauldron Guard's still in, so that's the same. Slaughter Troop is the same. Cauldron Guard, Slaughter Troop, and the Shadow Patrol, which are all out of the old book, but you've lost Temple Nest. So, and they're all the same abilities. And then you've got
so in this one you've got Viperic Guard, Scath Cove, and Shrine of Blood.
Yeah, and then you've got 3 out of that.
As you said, the same.
Yep. So basically, they've taken the Temple Nest. So in theory, what they've done is they've saved you points, but you have to take probably one of the lesser desirable.
They've just reduced that
to get that ability
out of the way.
I mean, because it were daft.
If it is only 1 mortal wound, not great. We're all of a 1. They've just completely nerfed it out of existence.
Yeah, and another one,
fair enough,
which recently has been making its kind of. Headway towards it. I think it's the one with the Stormcast Eternals. So you could get like stuff to shoot like twice and stuff like that with it. That's disappeared. The Shadow Hammer Compact, that's disappeared.
Sure.
Because that was really powerful with Marathi. So she can make you shoot in the hero phase, and then this lets you shoot in the hero phase as well. So you effectively got 3 shots from the Bloodstalkers
from 1 unit.
Yeah. Which is pretty horrific, to be honest. 10 of those, and I think they do more wounds on 6s. So yeah, that's pretty horrific. So that's gone as well. So that's it for in terms of War Scrolls. There isn't much change at all. In fact, I don't think there's any change apart from obviously the ones from
the Broken Realms
have been put in.
Is exactly the same.
Yeah.
With the Shadow Queen, so that new ability way, rather than if you didn't play Broken Realms, basically Marathi and the Shadow Queen, the big snake lady, are now they both go on the battlefield at the same time and they're linked together. So it's like, what's it called? 2 bodies, 1 soul, and 2 souls.
Yeah.
Or 1 soul, 2 bodies. So actually, that way it's the same way.
There is a change in here. There is one change. The Khainite Shadow Stalkers have been added.
Oh, I've got those. I'm a Daughters of Khaine player now.
They're actually really, really good. Just for
I think they're really good.
Just for the Shadow Leap, so you can teleport around, and they're cheap as well. They're really cheap for what they do for what they do is they're good. And the models are amazing as well. So
yeah.
But
so basically we've got those in there. Because I think they released the data sheet for free, but now they're in this book.
Now they're in the book, yeah.
They're fully working.
Oh, and obviously the Melusai as well. The Iron Scale Melusai, so she's in there as well.
Yeah, the new character.
Yep.
Yeah. But then the only other thing that's new is the Endless Spells, I guess.
Spells, yeah. They're so beautiful. The Endless Spells
are
really
amazing. Nice.
Yeah. Like the Serpent and the one with the daggers is amazing.
But the one with the Heart of Fury is just a JoJo reference, so... Yeah, so we got 3 wall scrolls. Let's do the big snake first. We'll go through in order. The really big snake, the Bloodwrack Vyper, which looks ace.
Yeah.
Very cool. Don't tell me about it, Dan.
Do I want to tell you about it? Okay, so it's it's a predatory spell, so it can be moved by your opponent, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's average cast, so it's cast on the 7, and you put it wholly within 9. It then can make a move. It can move immediately. It moves 9 inches. There we go. I just have to try and read that then. So it moves immediately 9 inches. And then after this model has moved, the player who moved the Endless Spell must pick 1 unit within 1 inch of it, roll 3 dice, and roll for each roll that is equal to or greater than the unit's wounds characteristic. They suffer. 1 model from that unit is slain. 1
model is slain. Yeah, that's really good. So if you go past something that's like 1 wound, you just kill 3 of them because you can't roll less than a 1. And then if you go like 3 or 4 wounds, you just got to roll 4 ups to kill them. So
those,
which is really good.
Hashtag just kill the characters. It's 5 and 6. That's better than a lot of stuff, because a lot of stuff you have to roll higher than the wounds characteristic. This is equal to.
This is equal to.
Yeah,
so that seems pretty strong to me.
For a sniper viper, there you go. It's brilliant.
A sniper viper.
that's what we're calling it now. Sniper viper.
A sniper viper. It's only 40 points.
Yeah, that's cheap.
Which is alright.
That'll go.
It's relatively slow because it's 9 inches.
Because it just slays outright models.
Yeah,
that needs to go up. 40 points is too cheap for that.
40 points is really cheap, I think.
Yeah.
Again, the only downside to it is it only moves 12. It moves 9, not 12.
But you have abilities
That's
to
the
teleport.
Only downside. Well, yeah, exactly.
So
you know, just like redeploy, wait a turn, cast it, off we go. See you in a bit. Bye. Any unit, 3 dice. Just imagine like a character. You got 3. You're like on average, if a character has 5 wounds, which they do, on average you kill it.
Yeah,
every time, because you roll 1, 2. You know, you're gonna roll a 5 or a 6 on average.
The issue is it can also snipe back, because obviously if you go first, your opponent can move.
Well,
it.
yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
It is a double-edged sword, but if you can,
I'm trying to think of a snake joke about poison. Snake joke here.
We're calling it the sniper viper. That's it.
The sniper viper. Yeah,
that's what we're calling it. Yeah. I like that spell, and it looks absolutely epic as well. It's so good.
I do like the endless spells in AOS. It's one thing that I wish 40k had, except for I don't like how they function. Won't lie.
Well, they used to have vortexes, didn't they, which were massive because they were like D weapons back in the day, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't like how they function in the game, but they look cool as fuck.
Yeah,
they are cool to have. So
yeah,
I think I don't like them more because I don't buy them.
Yeah, I think it's a shame that there's only there is a meta obviously of certain spells that work with certain things, but it's a shame like a lot of the army specific ones don't really see use because the normal endless spells are that good.
Yeah, like the portal and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
The generic ones.
Yeah, exactly. The spell portal, Geminid, stuff like that are really good.
Just so strong.
So but I like that one. It's cool. It's
and this might be why it's so cheap.
And it's cheap.
Yeah, it might be why it's so cheap, so you use it over the generic ones.
So you literally go out and sniping everybody with your Viper.
Yeah, that's it. So that's Sniper Viper. Then we have a Blade Wind.
Yeah, this is cool.
Pretty
I
sure
like this one. Yeah. It is a spell. Yeah, it's a spell from like every Dark Elf book ever.
I was trying to think of whether it's like something off an anime Blade Wind. I can't remember. So this is a 12-inch predatory flying spell. And it is a casting value of 6, which is quite cheap. Yeah, and you set it up wholly within 9.
Yes. And then obviously you can move it, so you can move 12, which is pretty fast. So what's that?
Pretty fast.
21 inches. 21. So you've got a threat range of 22. Because basically, if after this model has moved, each enemy unit that is either passed across, passed over the unit,
and each unit within
within an inch suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, do not apply a cover modifier to save rolls. Cover's not always a big thing in AOS, but it can be quite, when you've got a bloody a 3+ reroll in saves or 2+ reroll in saves. Trying to think what they call it. The Glade Guard, not Glade Guard, the Eternal Guard. The Wood Elf ones with the spears.
Blade Guard vets.
Blade Guard vets.
So it's basically it ignores cover within 12, right? Yeah. So and that's for because you don't get combat cover as well, don't you, in AOS?
If you're in cover while you're fighting, and you didn't charge, So it's okay.
It's all right.
I'm hoping this is quite cheap as well, because it literally does D3 mortal wounds.
The Blade Wind, it's also 40 points.
That's okay. I think this one's quite good because it does each unit that it's crossed over as well. Not because a lot of them are just pick one unit that it crossed over.
Yeah.
This one does every
unit
single
it crosses over and every unit that's within an inch. So if you get it in the right place, that's really good. You can hit loads. It's relatively small base as well, which is sometimes bad, but in this case it's good because you can get close more. You can squeeze it into small stuff.
Yeah, so like you've got a let's say Citizen Sigmar that likes castle up. If you can throw that over the two lines of dudes that are in front of the Hurricanum and still plonk the Hurricanum down next to the the Blade Wind next to the Hurricanum and the characters getting all the buff out, that's just dishing out D3 mortal wounds all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the thing is, once it's in somewhere like that, like a castle, they're not going to move it because it's going to hit their units.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to waste a turn waste a cast trying to dispel it.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Actually, I quite like that one. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's
consistent.
It's consistent. It's enough for a pain in the arse for your opponent that they need to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get it that right, the slingshot into the castle, or just somewhere where they can't physically move it out without crossing over their own units.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's quite good for 40 points. So we've got the Sniper Viper, which is decent. We've got the Blade Wind, which is decent.
And then the last one is an Invocation of Khaine War Scroll, which isn't an endless spell. It says, which is interesting.
No, so this is actually it's like a prayer. So like the Khorne ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that rather than an actual endless spell. Even though it's in the
I didn't realise what it was.
I've
not seen the Khorne one. So this is someone with a priest instead.
Yeah. So this is basically something that you can't dispel because it's a prayer. So you can only summon it once per turn, as all prayers are. So all you do is roll a 3 up. It's cast. Put it anywhere wholly within 12 of the priest, of obviously the girl that's chanting the prayer.
Yeah.
So this is actually really, really good. It is really good. So you subtract damage inflicted by each attack, which is important. To a Daughters of Khaine any Daughters of Khaine unit wholly within 12 of this model.
Nice.
So when you've got big Mega Man with a big hammer doing 3-4 damage at a time, you -1 from that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really big. Really, really big.
And I think because it's I'm going to say I was just trying to read into it a bit more, whether you could do it off of mortal wounds, but it isn't, because your mortal wounds are an ability rather than
exactly.
actual attack. Yeah,
it is specifically attacks.
Yeah, which is still really, really good.
Still really good, yeah.
So you plonk that in the middle of your army, and it's just there and -1 from damage.
There's a slight downside to this, though.
Yeah, so you find this with all prayers. So you have to keep rolling a 4+ to keep it on the battlefield.
Yeah, at the end of the battle round.
At the end of each battle round, yeah. So obviously you roll a 4 up, it stays.
Yeah.
But this one does have something that keeps it on. So it's add 1 to the roll if there are any avatars of Khaine within 6 of this model. So you get it on a 3+.
Nice.
which is nice.
Yeah, it seems really strong. Again, if you can keep it alive long enough, obviously you can bring it back on a 3+, sorry, or 2+ if you got an avatar of Khaine there, and then a 3+ if an avatar of Khaine's next to it as well.
Yeah.
But for 80 points, not too bad. It's a bit pricey, but I mean, if it goes off and it's always there, it's great.
It's the it's the same points as the Geminids, I believe. So 80 points, which I think you find more use out of the Geminids, unfortunately. But this is something you can't dispel, and it just happens on a 3+.
Yeah, it's just a 3+, but it's there, reducing all that damage, and then they're ignoring a 1/6 of that as well.
Yeah, and
after that,
to be honest with you as well, it's really good for your actual, witch elves, because obviously in AOS, damage spills over.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you can keep one model alive from each attack, it's halving them. A lot of stuff does 2 damage these days, like the big weapons. Like the great.
It's a 2 damage meta, Dan.
Stuff. It's
spread it into 40k as well. It's a 2 damage meta.
2 damage meta, but these have just got a hand that goes nope. Nope hand.
No for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. Is it better than something like the Geminids that has more utility? I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you take it just because it's cool as hell. But you try and take all 3. Oh, you take all 3 of these. To be fair, 160 points, and they've all got a place in the army. For me,
yeah, exactly. It's like the Sniper Viper is really cool. Well, if you've got spare 40, exactly. But if you want to invest, then
exactly that.
They all work.
You can go around and just go Sniper Viper. Everybody. I think, to be honest with you, the two endless spells could be really good for Caradron Overlords because they've got the spell in the bottle.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of people will run. They usually use the Warp Lightning Vortex, but I think maybe
that's an expensive relic, that artifact. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like you just need to buy every single endless spell box.
I mean, I'd probably be tempted I'd be tempted probably with Balewind on that one, just because
it has more utility.
Yeah, and just because you can throw it in your opponent's battle lines, and then they've got to deal with it because if they try and move it, it's going to absolutely nail them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And you don't mind then at that point, even if you get a double turn, you don't mind them moving it because then again they've got to try and deal with it. If you're not, you're moving it. So you're doing, the D3s on
exactly. So they've got to move it out of their army, so it's just going to hit them again. Exactly.
So I think out of all of those, they're all very good for the points. The Heart of Fury, I'm not too sure on, but they are. It is good. I'm just not too sure you'll see it that often. The other two, I think you could be just because
if it stayed up, it'd be like, okay, cool, 3 up. Done.
Yeah.
But I understand that's too easy to get it up, so if it keeps going down, it'd be really annoying.
Drawback to it, yeah. They've got to be a drawback, which is fine. That's it is.
Again, if you're running an Avatar of Khaine, it's a 2 up, which is like auto take then. But are you taking Avatars of Khaine? They're all right.
Probably not.
Well, yeah, exactly. It kind of feels like they're trying to force you to use one.
Yeah. So they're interestingly, with the endless spells, there's just one little thing that has changed as well. So as we know, Marathi's gone a bit mental and started to beat everybody up and don't really care what she's doing anymore. So she's
a goddess. She's a queen.
Kind of a goddess. She's not a techless, let's be honest. She's not my man.
No.
She's not my guy. So the one thing that has changed is the ally matrix for her.
Mm-hmm.
So they can now only ally with Cities of Sigmar and Idoneth Deepkin.
Interesting.
So whereas before they had pretty much everything.
Yeah, all order basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Which they now. Oh, well, to be fair, in the old book they had the Darkling Cove and stuff like that, which are all Cities of Sigmar now, so that's not much change. But they can't actually ally with the Stormcast, which is obviously why the Shadowkeep Pact thing, or whatever it is, has gone. with the one with the Stormcast and stuff in. So that makes sense to me. So it's just it's a Sigmar Ideneth, which again makes sense because that's what was in the Mortal Realms. That's the magazine. Broken Realms.
Broken Realms,
yeah. So which makes sense. But so that's it. That's the Battletome.
There's been no real points changes again.
No,
you've seen it in Broken Realms already. If there has been any points changes, or you've seen it in FAQ. And that's about it.
It's just been amalgamated into one, which is what you want. So it's just, like I say, it's just a shame for the Daughter of Khaine players that have bought the Marathi book. If you didn't want it for the fluff, if you just wanted it for the rules.
Yeah, that's probably like my biggest gripe with this book. It's a lovely book, don't get me wrong, and it adds a lot of stuff like the Elder Spells, but a lot of it just feels like a reprint from the Marathi book that came out November, I think, for this one.
Yeah.
So I think this came out in November, and everything that's in this one is in this one, and they haven't really changed anything from there. And the old stuff, they've just kind of tweaked. They haven't like made loads of new stuff.
Yeah,
because all the the command traits, the artifacts, and the spells are all the same.
Same apart from Shadrach's
Tooth. Except for Shadrach's Tooth, which is the best artifact in there. Maybe that's why they've brought this book out, because they were like, Shadrach needs his
Shadrach's Tooth, because he's an ebon dragon or whatever it's called, an umbral dragon.
Yeah. And then the prayers have all stayed the same, barring that slight clarification that you can heal the Shadow Queen.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's this and the old one banged together.
Pretty much,
with endless spells.
Which is a shame, but I think
it feels like they missed a trick.
From what you gain in the temples, I think it's worth it as well, because I think the temples have gone really good.
You've seen some nice changes. A lot of it seemed like nerfing, because obviously they've reduced the ranges to wholly within now, which is expected.
Yeah,
but when the ability is the same, it's just a nerf.
Yeah, that's just bringing them into line with the newer books, because the original book is actually really old. It's like one of the first ones of AOS 2.
For sure.
In fact, I think it was brought out in end of AOS 1, I think. And then was that right?
I don't remember.
I've got a feeling it was around the same time as around the same time as I don't know. It's not an army I play, so but
overall,
I think it's really good. Yeah, it is good.
They seem really. They still seem really strong. They haven't really been hit too hard. Other people might disagree with that comment that I just made, and if you do disagree, then let me know down in the comments why I'm wrong. That's okay. We can have a discussion.
I know there's some very good Daughters of Khaine players about. Like, I've been to a few Bobo. Well, I've been to a Bobo, and I have been obviously keeping up with what's been going off in the AOS meta, as it were, because they are still playing that about in Australia and stuff.
Sure.
And there's a lot of. I think there's a few good Daughters of Khaine players, and I think I think they'll like this book. I like it. I think if I were getting into it, buying this army, I think it's still a finesse army because they are paper thin, but you've got tricks there which are quite obvious as well, because they're just in the temples. Yeah. So there's just little things, and then obviously it just comes with how good you're at actually playing the game, which only seems to be Australia and New Zealand at the moment that are already playing the game. So
exactly. It just feels like an updated tweak. It feels like they've taken all the FAQs that they've already done, and they've just updated it to this edition of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah,
without not really like a whole redo of the faction, which is nice, I suppose, because it means you're not having to like rebuy an army because like certain units don't work anymore. It just feels like they've just tweaked it enough to make it all right.
I mean,
make it up to date.
Well, this is the thing. I think, like you just said, if you've already got a Daughters of Khaine out, you don't really need to buy anything else. You'd probably buy the Endless Spells, and obviously this book, and that's it. I don't think you need anything else because it still works the same way, and the synergies are still similar. Your temples might have got slightly better, or
except for sell your Stormcast if you're taking them purely for our lines.
That get rid of those guys.
Get rid quick.
Yeah. So I mean, it's an update basically. It is an update, and a decent one, to be honest.
I like it.
There's definitely been worse books.
I'm tempted to play Daughters of Khaine now. It always does. Always happens. I read an AOS book and I'm like, I want them now. I
mean, the Marathi is just amazing. Anyway, the model is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can play both of them now. I think that was what made them change that, is people are buying the Marathe, and you're probably going to see the little one once, like the first turn, and then you change it to the big one.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like I really like how they act on the battlefield now with them being linked. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's just a shame the abilities are so long-winded, and you've got to like properly study them so you know, understand what's actually going off. And I think that's the one issue about if your opponent doesn't know or has never played Daughters of Khaine before, having to stand there for 20 minutes before a game trying to explain what it does. You're
right,
like,
every time you hit her, you're actually hitting that one. Every time you're hitting this one, you're
taking that wounds, and that you can hit her, but you take that wounds on that one. And, you're like,
and then you can only do 3 a turn, and then I'm going to heal it as well.
And then I'm going to heal it, so she's never going to die, so it's fine.
Yeah. So
and I've got that stupid hand of heart or whatever it is that ignores damage. The Jojo heart that ignores damage. Ignores 1 damage. So yeah.
Well, there you go. So that's our review on the Daughters of Khaine Order Battletome. It is on pre-order today. Thank you once again to Games Workshop for sending this through. I promise I'll be doing some Age of Sigmar battle reports one day. It's just, Rona. It's just one of those things.
I think the big thing we can take out of this is everyone should just go and buy the endless spells, regardless whether you play Daughters of Khaine or not. They're amazing.
Get the Sniper Viper. Hashtag Sniper Viper.
There you go.
Yeah, show us your best Sniper Viper in the chat.
We'll have that
in the comments section, I guess. So thank you very much, Dan. That was really fun. I enjoyed that.
No worries. Anytime. Love speaking AOS.
Yeah, hell yeah. We should do it more. But thank you very much, everyone at home, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you're a Daughters of Khaine player, or let us know if you're going to be a Daughters of Khaine player because of us or because of this video, because that would be really cool. And we can have a chat about what you're going to buy, how many snake ladies you need in your life. I need a few snake ladies in my life, I think.
Well, that's it. Then you've got an army full of ladies as well, which is never a bad thing.
It's inclusive.
Yeah, exactly. And the Sisters of Battle seem to be doing really well recently. So
yeah, exactly. So shout out to the 0.2%. You know who you are watching. If you're not subscribed, then consider subscribing because you made it a long way into this video. Look at this graph to prove it. And otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.